At 62, Graham Norton finally tells the truth about Shelley Long, and what he offers is not a sensational takedown or a recycled piece of old Hollywood gossip, but a thoughtful, balanced reflection that challenges the simplified narrative that followed her for decades, because Norton explains that Shelley Long became a cultural shorthand in television history, often unfairly reduced to the story of the actress who left Cheers, while the reality, as he now sees it, is far more nuanced and human. And according to Norton, Long was an intensely focused, disciplined performer who took her craft seriously at a time when television comedy was still fighting to be respected as real acting, and that seriousness, he says, was often misread as aloofness or difficulty, especially in an industry that prefers charm and compliance over conviction. And Norton points out that Long entered Cheers when the show was unproven, helping build its emotional and comedic foundation through her portrayal of Diane Chambers, a character that required intelligence, rhythm, vulnerability, and impeccable timing. Yet as the show grew into a massive success, the expectations placed on her became increasingly suffocating, and Norton notes that Long's decision to leave was framed for years as arrogance or career miscalculation, when in truth it reflected a woman trying to regain control over her professional identity and personal life in an environment that rarely allowed either, and he admits that talk shows and media of the era, including the kind he would later perfect, often contributed to flattening such decisions into punchlines rather than understanding them as acts of self-preservation. And what Norton now finds most revealing is how time has softened the industry's judgment while strengthening Long's legacy, as her work continues to be reassessed with greater respect for its technical brilliance and emotional depth. And he observes that Long never chased constant visibility, choosing instead to step back when the noise outweighed the joy, a decision that looks less like failure and more like clarity when viewed through a modern lens. And Norton also emphasizes that Hollywood has historically been harsher on women who assert boundaries, especially those who refuse to play along with expectations of likability at all costs, and in that context, Shelley Long's story feels less like an anomaly and more like a cautionary tale about how easily confidence can be mislabeled. And now, at 62, Graham Norton says the real truth about Shelley Long is that she was neither difficult nor delusional, but simply ahead of her time, an artist who valued substance over approval and paid a professional price for it. And in sharing this perspective, Norton isn't rewriting history so much as correcting its tone, replacing caricature with context and judgment with understanding, reminding audiences that careers are not defined by one decision or one narrative, but by the courage to choose oneself in an industry that often punishes exactly that. And for more stories that revisit Hollywood history with honesty, depth, and perspective, stay with Hollywood Spotlight.